What's up, everyone? It's Cameron Moore here with Builder Brand Interviews, and today we have a very special guest. This guy is amazing. He's been in the business a long time, and Mr. Sweets, and he has just been a good friend of mine since I moved here, and has great ideas. So I look forward for you guys to hear exactly what he's doing and what he has done for many years to build his own business. And so before we do that, let's check out a quick little intro to Mr. Sweets and who he is.
Building brands, one block at a time, y'all.
Mr. Sweets, who is Mr. Sweets? Nobody beats the deal with Mr. Sweets.
Here we go.
Mr. Sweets, who is Mr. Sweets? Mr. Sweets, who is Mr. Sweets? Nobody beats the deal with Mr. Sweets. Nobody beats the deal with Mr. Sweets. Cam NBC, Skype with me and JD. From BAB, website to DVD. That EXT look like Transformers 3. FMGT as I'm cruising through the streets. Mr. Sweets, who is Mr. Sweets?
Man, that was an amazing intro, Mr. Sweets. So go ahead and tell everyone about yourself, who you are, and let them get to know you.
Well, Cam, I started in the car business about 25 years ago. I actually got out of the beer business out of Chicago, originally from the Mississippi area, but moved to Chicago at an early age. Got on that beer truck, man, and drove for a few years. Decided to move back to this area. And a cousin of mine that lives in Florida right now says, man, you got to try the car business, man. Leave that beer business alone. Try the car business. And here we are 25 years later.
So 25 years later, man, so you started in the car or the beer business, and then your cousin said, hey, man, you got to get in the car business. And I know everyone has like their story about how they got in and, what it was like. So I'm curious, 25 years ago, what did that look like when you first got in the car business? Like, was it easy? Was it hard?
25 years ago, man, the business was totally different. All of the information that is available to the consumer was not as available as it is today. So, you didn't really have to compete, with different ideas, different ways of creating business. You just kind of got out there on the lot and chased cars, So the difference between then and now is, you got social media, you got different platforms where you can actually build your business rather than just being out there on that pavement chasing cars.
Yeah, 100%, man. I could not agree anymore. And I want to go back to just what you said. Like in the past, like you could pretty much just chase cars because people were on the lot, and things have changed dramatically. I mean, the buyer's expectations, they want something that's fun, fast, friendly, convenient, fair. And, a lot of, people out there are still doing business like they were 25 years ago, expecting the customer to come to them, expecting, almost like, the customer has to go to them for them to do business, when in reality they don't, because they can shop for a car anywhere. And then you go into saying, how there's platforms out there like social media. And, Mr. Sweets, just curious, how old are you?
54, borderline 55.
Borderline 55. Okay, so at 54, borderline 55, I would say that you're very progressive and you're very, savvy with social media. And I love watching what you do. And there's a lot of people that are your age that claim that they can't do it, or, they don't have the idea for it, or whatever the case may be. And a lot of that I feel like is due to the fear of it, because it's new, it's different. And so how did you decide, like, hey, I'm going to go on social media because that's where it's at? Like, what was that decision for you? Like, how did you make that decision instead of staying where you were and doing the same things you were doing?
Just realizing that I didn't want to be out there again chasing cars. I didn't want to be out there trying to meet and greet that person that I don't know. They don't know me. When you use, for instance, Facebook. When you use that and you're able to connect with your friends and family, they get a chance to see what you're doing. And, you just build your business from a referral standpoint. And you're going to hear it a lot in this interview from me. referral is key. You know, if you're building your business and you're not going after the sale from the sale, those 4 or 5 referrals that you get from a customer when they're on their way out the door, you're leaving a lot of money on the table.
Mr. Sweets, that's like just like a gold nugget right there, and that's something that's preached, around by several people, and for some reason people still don't do it. They still don't ask for the referrals, and that's going to be like something we get into here shortly. Kind of second question is, how do you get referrals? And I'd love for you to share your ideas on how you're actually doing that. Before we get to that, let's get into like prospecting. So back in the day when you're prospecting, it's just whatever car pull up in the lot because everyone was pulling up. There's, probably no radio, but there's radio. There's, tons of stuff back then, but it wasn't as, I guess, hard back then when prospecting. So what do you do right now to prospect, knowing that there's no one pulling up on the lot, that up bus is not coming? It's not a real thing. So what do you do to prospect and get your name out there?
The biggest thing that I'm doing right now is Facebook engagement. I may do a video and I'll use the Facebook platform for that audience to just see me. I want to create some material that is worthy of a person actually engaging. If the material is not good, it's almost like having a song that doesn't have a catchy hook. Nobody wants to hear that song. So I try to put something out there that is going to make the audience want to say something or want to contact me, and it's been successful. If I do any type of engagement ad with Facebook or any other social media platform, I really have been surprised at the number of people that like the topic. If you put a topic out there, here's an example of a topic that I did here recently. As a woman, should you take your children with you to the dealership to do your shopping? Is it okay for a man to let his wife or his significant other pick out the vehicle? And you'd be surprised at the number of people that's a good topic for them. So they'll engage, and the next thing you know, I'm getting a phone call. Hey, I like your video. I'm bringing my wife with me to look at my next video, and I'm having a lot of fun with it too, Cam.
Man, I love that you give those two examples, because if you're listening right now, you can obviously hear that Mr. Sweets has his target market, his audience that he knows he likes to work with, and so to let everyone know, I'll let Mr. Sweets describe his target audience and the people that he wants to work with and how he targets them, because it works for him. So who's your target audience when you're putting stuff out there?
If you're not looking at the people that you're selling each month, and it took me a minute to just slow down and just look at who is actually buying cars from me. And when I finally did the math and did the numbers, I've got like a 90 to 95% selling average to women. And that's kind of how I came up with the Mr. Sweets, was because, I kept hearing, he's so nice, he's so sweet, go see him. So I'm like, well, let me just see if I can be Mr. Sweets then, since the audience is appreciating me as being a sweet person. But that's my audience. I'm looking for the women folk that've got kids, whether they're married or whether they're single or whatever the case may be, in doing the math, it's the women folks that are spending the money. Not saying the guys aren't, but I've seen more women go to social media then show up with their husband versus the man being on social media or whatever, looking at cars, clothes, or whatever the case may be. So I would have to say the women folk, that's my audience. I've been real successful with it. Again, if I do any kind of campaign, the response is phenomenal.
Excellent, man. That's great. So if you go ahead and listen back, you can rewind if you want, but Mr. Sweets, he's targeting the women due to the fact that he found when he was selling cars that a large majority of the people that are purchasing from him were women, and they kind of helped brand that name, Mr. Sweets. And so he went ahead, instead of just dropping the ball, went with it and went full out. And I know I've been to your desk before, and you have tons of candy around there, Mr. Sweets. And, I've watched your videos, and, your clients really seem like they have a really good time. Now we're going to get into the second part, which is, how do you get referrals? How do you ask for referrals? And what does that look like when you are asking?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, your presentation, what you bring to the table, what you offer your customer. You almost don't have to ask, to be honest with you. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But as far as doing a good job with your customer, and going above and beyond, doing things that just the average salesperson's not doing, people remember that. You're asking for a referral is just a bonus, because at that point, I've had customers tell me, hey, Mr. Sweets, yeah, you don't have to ask me to send my mom, my dad, or my church member or my coworker, whatever. It's automatic. My experience with you has been so much fun that it's automatic. Now, let's just say, that I've got that customer that, maybe is in a hurry, or maybe I didn't get a chance to spend quality time with them. I still have 3 or 4 referrals that the bank may require, or the dealership may require, as contact information to be able to reach this person. I'll send that person a video saying, hey, look, your aunt was just here, bought a vehicle from me. I wanted to introduce myself. A lot of people are leaving that idea on the table because it's work. And I think it was Thomas Edison that said that opportunity is missed by many because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. And a lot of folks just don't want to do the work. So this is my thing. Do you want to be out there chasing cars your whole career, or do you want to come inside and build a business to where you don't have to ever catch your next up? And that's the direction I'm heading in. Maybe 10 more years in the business, but chasing cars, for me, that's a thing of the past. So again, in terms of getting a referral, quite naturally, just ask. But once you get that referral, though, work that referral. Don't just get it just because the dealership is asking for it, the lender is asking for it. I'll go so far as to ask the customer, hey, look, you just gave me 5 names. Out of those 5 names, who, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not even next week, but who is going to be in the market for a car sometime soon? And you would be surprised at the number of people that will put an X by that name or circle that name right there. As a matter of fact, my mom is looking right now. Again, folks are leaving that opportunity on the table.
Yeah, and I've seen it many times, and I can say I've been kind of guilty of that myself when I was selling cars when I first started, because I didn't really understand. But I love to see what you're doing with the referrals, and I know you also even take photos with your customers when they get referral checks, which is huge. And you did one video even kind of making the math make sense on referrals, on how people could literally just send you people once they buy a car, make an extra income each month. So you talk about the benefits of that. So that's a really good idea. And lastly, let's talk about following up with your customers. What do you do to follow up? A lot of people still do the same email, or maybe a call. Now some people text. How do you follow up with your customers, and what does that look like each day for you?
You got folks out there that think that mail is outdated, and for a customer to get a personal thank you card or a letter from you saying, hey, look, I really enjoyed our time together yesterday, day before yesterday, this past week. I enjoyed meeting your kids. I enjoyed meeting your significant other. I know when I get mail, or I get something on my birthday, or I get something for the holiday, just knowing that person thought about me, is huge. So calling or contacting the customer just to say, hey, look, I didn't want anything, calling to check on you. This is my favorite line. A lot of times you'll buy something from someone and you never hear from them again. I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person that is almost like a member of the family. My thing is, if you got a doctor that you visit on a regular basis, you got a dentist that you feel comfortable with, you have an attorney, you have a certain daycare or a certain school you want your kids to go to. Why can't you have that one car dealership and that one car salesperson that you trust? You know that if you call Mr. Sweets, you know what to expect. You know that we're going to have fun. He's going to contact me on my birthday. He's going to contact me at Christmas. He's going to ask me about the kids. How's little Junior doing? Is he still doing karate? And that's another thing, just remembering your customer and what they do. It doesn't even matter if you're selling 100 cars a month. Again, if you're not engaged, you're missing out. So you got different ways you could do it, whether it be the phone call, whether it be the email, whether it be the text, whether it be the letter. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do all of them. Why? Because I want to keep my name in front of that customer.
Absolutely. So if you guys definitely didn't have notes taken, go to rewind and take notes on that. Matter of fact, this whole entire episode, because Mr. Sweets just gave you guys so many golden nuggets, and take it from a guy that's been in the business a long time, that's changed, with how times are changing, and not just stayed where they're at and said, when I sold cars, I did this. He's actually doing it today. He knows what it takes. And so it's really great to have you on, man. And Mr. Sweets, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and being with us today. So if you guys want to check out Mr. Sweets, you can find his website. It's mrsweetsalescars.com. You can check him out on social media. You can just type in Mr. Sweets and you'll pretty much find him everywhere. So do you have any closing words you want to say?
I just wanted to let the audience, know, again, the hardest part about any business is recognizing where you are and what you're doing. I always tell my advertising team, when they don't want to do the work, or even I don't want to do the work, it's just something to think about. If you go to FedEx and your job is to load trucks, you're going to load trucks on Monday. You're going to load trucks on Tuesday. I mean, that's what you're going to do. If you go to McDonald's and your job is to flip burgers, you're going to be flipping burgers on Monday. You're going to be flipping burgers on Tuesday. If you're a tractor trailer driver, if you're delivering beer, old school days, your job every day is going to be to go to that route and do that. If you're a school teacher, every day you got to go to class and deal with the students. Okay, then. The thing about the car business is every day you're looking for that sale. And I think that, people don't map out their day well enough to take up that day. You'll look up and before you know it, it's lunchtime. So the average salesperson is going to lunch. You'll look up and, you're not doing anything and you're just walking around and, or you had a customer that you couldn't close. So it's got your head messed up. So I'm just going to take the day off. And that's the thing about it is there is no day off when you're trying to build your business. And people can say, well, I'm just going to open up my own business so it'll be a lot easier. Well, I'm here to tell you, the car business is your business. The one thing I appreciate about Mr. Sweets is that the brand can go anywhere in the country and sell cars. It doesn't matter what the name of the dealership is. The brand, your brand is who you are. So that's the thing. To build that business, put the time in. I always tell the story of a friend of mine that he's got a tractor trailer company. And I graduated from high school with this guy. And I watched him drive combines for his dad growing up. And his mom recently passed away. But the work ethic of this young man, he and I are probably the same age. Well, at the same age right now, he's got 25 tractor trailers on the road. He doesn't drive tractor trailers anymore. He doesn't have to. He's a millionaire, house paid for. I mean, he's got every car you can think of in his driveway. And I tell folks all the time, that's what you do. You work hard now so you can play hard later. So forget about playing right now. Let's go ahead and build this business, guys, ladies. Go ahead and start building your business right now. So 3 to 5 years from now, catching a fresh up or walking out on the parking lot and getting somebody fresh is because you just bumped into him. You wasn't looking for him. You just bumped into him, but to have that feeling where you can come in every day knowing that your day is already laid out. You got 4, 5, 6 appointments already set up. You got your phone, like mine just rang, you know, you got people calling you, hey, my mom's coming to see you, my sister's coming to see you, you know, go ahead and start building your business now so that you don't have to chase cars later.
Man, those are wise words. So if you guys, again, want to check out Mr. Sweet stuff, which I highly encourage you to do, you can go to mrsweetsellscars.com or go to any social platform, type in hashtag Mr. Sweets. You can check out his stuff. So again, thanks so much for being on today, and we will catch you guys next time.
All right. Thanks, Cam.